So the project we're going to do today, like I said, is good for any crafter. This is a useful, a cute and useful thing that all of you, I think, could use in your creative space, wherever that is, or your creative corner of the world, wherever that is. Okay. So I'm going to turn on my other camera here. Let me get this on. All right. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to be working with today for our craft and chat. So along the way, as we start our craft, I want you to make sure if you have questions, I want you to post your questions for me. Super excited just to chat with you too while we're crafting. Okay. So today we're going to make a framed pincushion. Okay, a framed pincushion. Now, some of you may think you don't really need a pincushion, but honestly, every crafter does. Every crafter does. Okay, every crafter needs a framed pin, well, not necessarily a framed pincushion, but some sort of pincushion, because I use pins like this all the time. I use them to unclog glue bottles sometimes, or my stickles, right? Like whatever it is, they're great for that. I also use pins sometimes with my napkin crafting. Sometimes you get a stubborn layer of a paper ply and you kind of just need a pin to kind of work it apart. So I use pins all the time. All right. And of course, with stitching, not only do I use pins sometimes, but I also use needles. Okay, so if you're a stitcher, pins and needles. If you're a crafter, for sure pins. You're going to need these. You're going to need something cute, an easy way to access these things. And let me tell you how this project came about. Okay, because I love to hand stitch, and I also love to hand stitch in comfort. Okay, so what does that mean? That means usually when I'm hand stitching or doodling with thread, right, I might be watching TV. I might be watching something. So I'm usually on the couch. I'm a blanket person. So I'm usually like wrapped up in a blanket. And I'm almost embarrassed to admit this, but before I had a framed pincushion, I would just stick my needles in the couch. In like the armrest of the couch, I would just stick them in there, and it drove my husband crazy. So I decided to create myself a little pincushion that could actually sit on the arm of the couch. Because here's the thing, like this one, you can see, I think you can barely see, but this one has needles in it and a few pins in it. When I'm stitching, like if I'm stitching a project, right, like this one, like my create book, I'm going to grab whatever colors of thread I'm planning to use, and I thread a needle for every one of these. Okay. And then I stick them in my pin cushion. And that way, whenever I'm ready to use that color, I just grab that needle. So I'm not constantly rethreading the same needle. Okay. Does that make sense? So I created one that can actually, in a frame that can actually just sit on the arm of my couch, right? Now, when you do these in a frame, it's awesome because you're guilty as charged too. Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. So it's great because if it has an easel on the back of it, it can actually stand up if you want to like stand it up, right, on your desk or on your craft table, or it can just lay down, which is great for if you're in the car, stitch a lot on road trips, or, if you don't want to use your arm of your couch as a pincushion. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make this today, and oh my gosh, they're super simple, they're super cute, and this would make a great gift for anybody you know that crafts or stitches or sews, right? Any creative person, creative maker. So this is what we're going to start with, y'all, and it's very, very budget friendly, super budget friendly. So you just need a frame. Okay. And by the way, let me show you a couple. I brought in a couple of these because I just want you to see that any size frame will work. Okay. So this was a wooden frame. This was a wooden frame that I actually painted. I painted it out, and you can see it's just a little tiny. It's not very big, little pin cushion surface right there. And then this was a dollar frame from the dollar store, right? Didn't paint it at all, just left it just like it is. Put my cute fabric in there, right? Just super cute. And then this one is a little larger because I want this one to also be somewhat decorative. So we're going to make this one today. And then I'm also going to make some really cute felt flowers to adorn on it, like embellishments. We're going to make this one cute. You can see it has the back easel here. So it can actually stand if you want it to stand at your work place, your creative space, or wherever you want it to be. Okay. Isn't that going to be fun? So this one's a little bigger. This is a 4x6 opening. But again, I want to add a few little flowers on it. We're going to make it cute because again, I think these would be so adorable, even as gifts or just something pretty to have on your, right there in your creative space. Okay. So first thing, you need a frame. You need a frame of some sort. Okay. It can come from anywhere. It can come from the dollar store. It can come from anywhere. All right. You're also going to need a piece of fabric. Now, I have fallen in love with this fabric. I'm going to hold it up kind of high for you. I'm going to adjust something here real quick, y'all, because you're probably going to get tired of seeing my hands in both places. Okay, I think that's going to work. So this fabric is so, so cute. Let's move I'm going to move this in just a little bit for you so I can show you up close. Look how cute this is with the thimbles. So this is one of the fabrics that I chose for a collection for my Fabric Fan Club members. And I just think it's really super cute and adorable. So that's what I'm going to use, all right, for our project today. Sorry, y'all. Let me get readjusted here. So you're going to want some fabric. You're going to need a frame. And then I'm also going to be using a little bit of what we call polyfill quilt batting. Okay. So you can see this kind of comes in sheets like this. This is just kind of a scrap piece that I had. And we're going to be using a little bit of this quilt batting. This is low loft. This is really not expensive. There's some fairly small packages of this that you can get any of your craft stores, especially craft stores that sell fabric of any kind. Okay, so we're going to need a little bit of this because we need a little poof, right? We need a little poof. We need some fabric. I'm also going to be adding, just for fun, just for a little extra decoration, this really cute ribbon that looks like a measuring tape. Now, if you're in my Fabric Fan Club, girls, you got a little measuring tape for me at Christmas. You might even want to use actual measuring tape that you don't mind cutting. Okay, so I'm using a little bit of ribbon here. And you're going to need some scissors. Okay, so for this part, this is all you need. When we get ready to make flowers, we'll talk more about that then. Okay. I love our Fabric Fan Club too, Cindy. Thank you for saying that. So if anybody's interested in the Fabric Fan Club, Cheryl McCarson is here. She's helping me out with links, posting links and things today. So she will be happy to post a link to info about the Fabric Fan Club and then other things we're going to talk about today. Okay? Yes, you can, Sue. That's true. You can make pin cushions with ground up walnut shells. They're supposed to keep your needles sharp. I don't have that. I'm just using my batting for now. But yes, I have heard that from other stitchers, people that use needles a lot. Okay, so I'm taking the back off of the frame. All right, that's the first thing I'm going to do. Let's just slide this over here just a little bit. I want to make sure you can see okay. All right. So I'm going to take the back off. Now, I'm also going to be taking the glass out. Okay. No glass. Just put that to the side. And then I want you to hang on to the paper, the little paper that's usually in, it might be a picture or whatever it is. Hang on to this because we're actually going to use this as a little bit of a template for us. Okay. This is going to be great for a template. And then the frame, we're just going to move to the side. Y'all, I'm just leaving my frame white. If you wanted to paint your frame, of course you could. If you want to alter your frame at all, sand it, distress it, whatever you want to do. Okay. Whatever you want to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my little fabric remnant. This is just a scrap piece that I had left over from some other projects. And I'm going to turn it over because I need to be sure that my scrap piece of fabric is a little larger than this insert. Okay. This is a 4x6 frame, so this should be a 4x6 insert. If your frame doesn't have an insert, then just use the glass, use the glass, or just measure it so that you know you're going to have enough. So can you see that? I'm just taking probably, let's see, what is that? About 1/2 inch-ish, right? You just need to it doesn't have to be pretty. You don't have to pull out your rotary cutter or anything like that. We just want to make sure that we have plenty of a little extra on the sides. Okay. Now let's put that to the side. Now we're going to look at our batting here. So when it comes to our batting, I'm going to use a few layers of this. So let me kind of stretch this over. I think I'm going to use, let me see if I think 3 will be enough. 3, let's do 4 layers. So I'm just going to kind of fold this over. Let's start with 4, and then if I feel like that's too much, we'll cut some away. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of cut a piece. And again, this is quilt batting. You can see that it's just layers like this. I'm going to start with 4. I think 4 is going to be plenty. This is low loft, by the way, so it's not very thick. So use what you have. If you have some in your stash already, just kind of, you can gauge if you feel like it's too thick or too thin, depending on, I mean, look at this. This is pretty thin, right? That's pretty thin. So this one I'm going to use 4 layers for. Now, what's going to happen next is I'm going to first just kind of hold this in place, and I'm going to cut it. The first cut I'm going to make is going to be to the size of the insert for the frame. Just hold it. Doesn't have to be perfect. So this is my first cut, or first cuts, I guess. All right. Now, because we're going to have the layer of fabric, okay, because we're going to have the layer of fabric in here, we're going to go in and actually, I'm going to cut this a little bit less. I want it to be a little bit less. Let me show you. Hang on. Let me just take a little bit of this off. I want you, when you lay this batting down, I want you to be able to see a little bit of a border. Okay, a little bit of a border around it. And again, what I'm using is just the insert from the frame. Okay, this is just the insert from the frame. All right, so make sure it's a little bit less. We don't want a lot of bulk, okay, around the edges. So it's nice for this to be a little less. In fact, I think I can take off maybe just another tiny bit off that side. Okay. Everybody can see that? You should be able to see that white paper, right? All around the edges. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be so adorable. Again, super easy, super cute. Very, very easy. So the next thing I'm going to do is grab my fabric, and I'm going to lay down my batting pieces, of course, kind of right in the center. Okay. So now this is going to go into the frame here. Don't worry about this extra fabric. And this is great because you can always take this back apart. Okay. Here's the thing about that batting. We don't want any batting hanging out. We just want fabric here. Okay. Just fabric here. I'm going to go ahead and just turn this to close these. We're going to look at the other side. We're going to see if I feel like it's enough. Oh, look at there. So it does. It's got just enough poof, I think, for that'll be perfect for my little framed pin cushion. Isn't that going to be darling? Now, I talked about this ribbon. I want to add the ribbon. Okay. So just want you to see kind of what it's going to look like. It's good to put the backing on just to be sure if you need to trim anything else. I'm going to trim away this extra fabric here in just a minute. I'm actually thinking, y'all, I'm going to do one more layer. I'm going to do one more layer here. Get Give it just a little extra poof. All right, I'm going to add one. So now I've got 5. Okay, so you're just going to judge by whatever you're using, right? What's going to be best for that. So now that I'm kind of feeling good about the batting, I'm going to come in and play around with my ribbon. I've got this cute ribbon that looks like measuring tape. And I'm going to kind of lay this out so I can see kind of where it's going to fall on my frame. I think that that is a really good spot right there. I have my glue gun plugged in here. Y'all, I'm going to put just a teeny tiny drop. I mean, like just the teeniest, tiniest little drop. I'm using my glue gun that has a precision tip on it. Let me hold my hand underneath it. So it has that little tiny tip so I can really control how much glue. I mean, just a tiny, teeny, tiny little drop. But that's going to kind of hold this in place. All right, it's going to hold it in place. And let's put it back together again here. I want that ribbon, that to just kind of hold in place there. That's going to go down. Here we go. Let's put this back on. Just fold these pieces back again. I'll come back and I'm going to trim off all this excess fabric, okay? But again, I just want to kind of look. I want to be sure what this looks like. That looks so cute. Okay, because I only use that teeny tiny drop, I can kind of maneuver this. So if your ribbon winds up looking a little bit, crooked or whatever, you can slide it back and forth to where it's just exactly where you want it to be. Isn't that cute? I think it's so cute. Thank you for sprinkling, Kimberly. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So use any fabric that you want. You can use any fabric from your stash. Think about it. Even denim could be cute. Burlap could be cute. There's so many different types of fabrics out there. And if you're interested in joining us in the Fabric Fan Club, one really big perk, okay, I'm going to go ahead and start kind of trimming this away. One really nice perk to being a Fabric Fan Club member is no matter when you join, you have access to purchase from past bundles. So you can come in and purchase from past bundles that we've had. Which means if you come and join us, of course, you'd have access to this one, which is called So Cute. And if you're in the Fabric Fan Club, you should have plenty of this. You should have plenty of fabric still. And it's a good idea to make several of these, really. I'm going to have one up here on my creative space. I have one that's by my couch. On the side table by my couch. You could have a travel one. These are just so fun and easy to make. And again, dollar store frames, right? Like you can just dollar store frames, or maybe even have frames in your house right now that you're not using that you could repurpose. So I'm just kind of quickly going around here, cleaning up the back of this a little bit. Move the little guys here, and probably you would spend time and do a little better job than me, but I want to go ahead and move on to our next step. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut that extra piece off. But again, just so adorable. So now this could actually stand up, right? It could stand up at my space, or it can lay down, right? Isn't it cute? So cute. And again, any fabric would be so just super cute. Anything goes with this. Okay, so I mentioned that I wanted to make this a little cuter, right? I want to make it a little bit cuter. I want to have a little fun with it. So I thought it would be fun to share a couple of to share a flower making technique and maybe add a couple, 2 or 3, maybe little felt flowers down here in the corner. What do you think? Do you like it? Yes, it's awesome. Okay. So let's talk about felt really quickly. All right. Now you can see the thread wall behind me. We also have a wall of wool felt. It's 100% merino wool felt. It is perfect for your hand stitching needs. It's also perfect for making flowers, making all kinds of things. And I'm a texture person. So I love adding in. You're going to see almost all of my projects are going to have some felt added in somewhere, somehow. Okay. So our threads and felts are available to anyone. Anyone can order those and purchase those. So we have a wide variety of colors. If you have questions about, anybody have a question about what um, my favorite size needle is, or why these particular threads are my favorite to hand stitch with. I'm trying to give you ideas to ask for questions. Um, I what I love to hand stitch with, okay? So like if I'm working on my, my sewing banner, right? My adorable little sewing banner here. I love to use 100% cotton thread. And this particular thread right here is 12 weight. It's 12 weight. And y'all, it's awesome because you can stitch with it by hand, but it's also made where you can actually stitch with it on a machine. If you're a machine stitcher, you could use it on a machine. And I love these because the tops just kind of pop open. See how they pop open? And then the thread ends can just kind of go around and close. So I'm not having to wrap cards or anything. Now you can use your own embroidery floss. If you have DMC floss, you can use that. But I love these. They're just perfect for the type of stitching that I'm doing. They're by Sulky. And I believe, Renee, what are our threads? $1.99? Is that right? Yes. Yeah, I think they're $1.99 each, so really good cost. Um, and I always stitch with a double thread, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. But let's have some fun and maybe make some flowers here for our beautiful framed pin cushion. Okay. Oh, sure. Yes. Okay, Vivian, we'll definitely go in and ask some questions. The size needles I like to use are a number 7. We sell them like this. Again, they're very, very, very affordable. This is an actual embroidery needle. These are all number 7s. Okay, they're all number 7s in here. And a number 7 for me is just perfect because I can still thread it. Okay, I can thread it and I'll show y'all how I thread it. But I can also, it doesn't leave a big hole in my fabric, right? Because we're hand stitching, it doesn't leave a big hole. I just really, really enjoy this. And this is a very, very good brand. Let me hold it up again. Sorry about the light, but they are great, great needles. Number 7. And Cheryl, if you want to post a link to those, you can. Okay. To the needles. All right. So let's go ahead and make some flowers though, because then when I make a leaf to go with the flowers, I'll do a little stitching with that as well. Okay. So I was kind of thinking, okay, like this would be cute. This color is called strawberry. Isn't that cute? And then I pulled a few colors I thought would be cute. This one is called dandelion. This one is robin's egg. So I was trying to kind of pull colors from my thimbles here that I thought would look cute, right? And then for my green for leaves, I'm going to use this color called aquamarine. I thought that would be kind of fun, really fun and colorful. So I'm going to show you a technique for making felt flowers that requires nothing but your scissors. Possibly a friction pin, which I forgot to bring in here. Renee, would you mind grabbing me a friction pin? Thank you. See, our fabric room is right next to our kind of our warehouse room. So yes, great. Thank you. So I'm going to use a friction pin, y'all. A friction pin is a pin that basically the ink disappears with heat. Okay. So it just disappears if you have like a heat tool I use this all the time when I'm crafting, or even your iron, something like that. If you're using it on paper, it actually has an eraser here that you can erase with. So let's make a flower. All right, you ready to make a flower? Oh my gosh, Sandy, I have been, I actually, most of my stitching years, okay, have happened as an adult. I tried so hard with my grandmother when I was younger to learn, like she did embroidery and knitting and all the things, and I wanted her so badly to teach me, but um, I had a hard time. Let me tell you what happened. Okay, she would get very upset because I didn't hold my needle just the right way. And if my stitches weren't exactly right, I'd have to cut them back out and start over again. And I just got it just turned me off. It turned me off to it. But when I started on my own as just a fabric lover and just doing things, I decided I didn't want to care about what size the stitches were. I wanted to just stitch however I wanted to stitch. I wanted to hold the needle however I wanted to hold the needle. And that's kind of how freestyle stitching, that's just what it is to me. It's literally me kind of doodling with thread. Now, since then, I have learned just a few basic stitches that I use all the time. And so I created some little, just short little videos for our fan club members, like because we have people that have joined the fan club that have never ever stitched before. So I made these little bitty short training videos just on some little stitches like a French knot or a lazy daisy, a back stitch, which is a great outlining stitch, you know, so just a few basic things. But I promise you, my type of embroidery is not like my grandmother's. It is doodling with thread. Nothing has to be perfect. It's just a very free form, you know, free form. It's you know, I love raw edges, I love texture. I just kind of just use the thread like I would if I was doing pen work. Like if I was going to draw around something, well then I'm stitching around it. Okay, really really super fun. Okay, so let's make a flower real quick. Yeah, no stress kind of stitching. So when we make these are just really simple felt flowers, all right? Very simple felt flowers. It does make a difference when you're working with wool felt versus just regular craft felt. Okay. Craft felt is great for some things, and I use craft felt a lot in behind my stitching as like a faux batting. Okay. But I love working with wool felt because it's just got a tighter weave, it's got a better texture, it holds its shape better. It's just great for making flowers and all other kinds of things. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my friction pin here and I'm going to draw somewhat of a circle. Okay. Don't go make a circle template. Okay. These flowers actually look better when your circle isn't perfect. I told you I'm not about perfection. So just kind of draw a circle. And I did it kind of lightly here, but I think you can see it there. We're just going to start off just drawing a circle. All right. Just draw a circle. And it's fine if it's messed up, don't worry. Okay. Don't worry. These flowers turn out cute every time. And then I'm going to start kind of from here. And I'm just going to draw somewhat of a spiral. And in the end, it's just going to kind of look like that. So let me hold it kind of on its side so you can see it a little bit better. Do you see that? Just kind of a spiral. All right. Eventually, you won't even have to draw this. You'll just start cutting them out. Okay. Can everybody see that? So now I'm going to cut this out. Depending on how big a circle you start with, kind of factors into your flower. Now, so there's my circle. Okay. And now I'm just going to cut on the line. And eventually you'll just start cutting these. You won't even need to draw it. Don't worry about the pin mark because I'm going to use, after I cut this, I'm going to use my heat tool here, my heat gun over it, and the ink is just going to disappear. So I use a friction pen all the time for templates because I create templates for everybody in the club to make it easy for them. So I'm going to take my heat tool here and just go over that. And no more ink. Okay, see how easy that is? Super easy. Those friction pens are like $1.99. Great little handy tool for any crafter. Okay, so I am going to use a little bit of hot glue for this. Okay, a little bit of hot glue for this. And I'm actually going to start here on the end. Okay, so let me put this back in my hand again. I'm starting here on the end. Okay, right here on the end. And then I'm just gonna start kind of coiling, basically just wrapping. This is going to wind up being the center of my flower. Let me get enough of it done so I can show you the center of my flower. So it's very tight. I'm trying to keep it very tight. And if it's hard for you to get a tight center, get like a toothpick or a really thin, like a skewer, maybe a wood skewer, and start off using that. So I want this part to be very tight. Okay, very tight. Now I'm going to just start wrapping around. I like to kind of hold it in my, between my thumb and my pointer finger on both hands, and I just start wrapping. Okay. Now, as you get further out, I want you to wrap looser. Okay. I want you to wrap looser. I don't want you to have what I call an uptight flower. All right, can you see that? You're going to get a little bit looser and looser as you go around. If you feel like it's too tight, then it's okay. Just unwrap it a little bit. Let's unwrap it a little bit. You can kind of put it on its edge. Just go a little bit looser here. All right, I think that this one actually looks really good. You'll see that okay? All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just turn it over. I'm going to lay it down, turn it over. Now notice how the felt doesn't try to spring back. I love that. It doesn't try to spring back. I'm going to pull this up. Okay, do you see this is my, here, let me hold it up. This is my center point here. This kind of becomes like a little cap. All right, so I'm going to put some hot glue, drizzle some hot glue here on the back. And then I'm going to take this little cap and I'm going to put it on top of that hot glue and really, really give it a push. Okay, give it a push. Then turn, so it's going to look like that on the back. Then turn your flower over and give it a push in the center. Push down that center part. Push it down. That's spreading it out into the glue. It's also giving us a little bit more of a deeper center. Isn't that cute? Oh my gosh, they're so, so easy to create. So look how adorable that's going to be. And this one actually is a little tight. I can maybe make my next one maybe not quite so tight. Right? Isn't that cute? Okay, so let's make another one. So this one, just going to cut kind of a square here. We're going to make this one a little smaller. They do out there in the crafting world, they do make some great dies for flowers and things like that, but they can be expensive. And honestly, this type of flower is so easy, y'all. They're so easy to make. And eventually you won't even have to draw this out. You won't even have to draw this. Okay. They look better when they're not perfectly a circle, in my opinion. They look a little more organic. And then just cut on your line. You can make these as big or as small as you want. I think they look good in clusters. They also look really cute, like if you want to drop like a little bead or a little pearl inside, that looks really cute too. All right, I'm gonna use this as my little cap. Okay. So again, I'm gonna put this down. I think I'm gonna just take my heat gun over it real quick. Erase those, that just causes those pin marks from the friction pin to just go away. And I'm going to start with the tail. All right. I know a lot of people think you start here in the center, but you're actually going to start with the tail. And again, we want the center to be pretty tight. If that's hard for you, wrap it around a skewer, a toothpick, something that you can slide out once you get this tight part started. Okay, just kind of tight. And then eventually I switch in between my fingers, right? And then get looser as you go. Okay, if you stay tight the whole time, your flower is going to be bitty and bitty tiny. All right, so I think you can kind of see my flower there. Cute, right? So you could put a little bead down in here, a little pearl if you want to. Putting some hot glue on the back. Gonna take this little cap right here and just press it down. The back will look like that. Thank you, Sandy. I just tried to pull colors out of the fabric. And then I'm going to really push down that center to where it almost makes like a little divot, like really push it down. And now I have another little flower. Do you see what I mean about the size? Like it just depends the size and how tightly you wrap them. So now we can maybe, I think I'm going to do one more. I like clusters, so I think I'm going to add one more. And I think it's going to be this blue. I love color. Okay, so let's do another one. But this time I'm not going to draw. I'm not going to draw because honestly, after a while, you just get used to creating these and you can just cut them. Okay, you can just cut, right? And I just cut. It's really not hard, but having that friction pin is definitely good for when you're first starting and kind of getting used to this. And look, it's not perfect. They don't have to be perfect. Okay, I love things that don't have to be perfect. All right. So I'm going to take the end and I'm going to start coiling again. Wrapping, I'm just going to wind this up really tight for the center, tight in the center. And then I'll transfer to my fingers and start going. You can go a little bit looser, a little looser, a little looser. I really like the hand cut ones almost better because they just kind of take on their own look. They just seem a little more organic to me. Okay. And now there we have another flower, right? I'm going to push down that center, push it down into the glue. Nice little divot in there. And now I just get to decide kind of how I want to cluster these on my piece here. Okay, now before I actually glue these down, I'm going to do one more thing. Okay, I'm going to do one more thing. I want a couple of leaves. Okay, I'm gonna do a couple of leaves. This color is called aquamarine, but I think you can see that it's not, I think it's gonna look good with these thimbles. So how do we make a leaf? Let me come down here a little bit closer for you guys. Okay, so now you can really see those flowers. Really fun. Um, okay, a leaf is basically just like a teardrop, right? So let's just make a teardrop. Okay, and leaves can be any shape. If you want a skinnier leaf, right, you can have a skinnier leaf. Just whatever. Leaves can be however you want them to be. Sometimes I don't even draw those either. I'll just hand cut them. Right. Cute little leaves. Let's do one more. I'm going to do one more. I'm just going to cut this one. All right. Super cute, right? All right. Pop the heat on there. Make that pin line go away. Okay. I think you can all see those. They all look very different, right? They all look different. I think I'm going to use this as my stitch. I like leaves, felt leaves, when they just have a little bit of stitching in, like a little vein, right? Like a little vein going through them. And this um, gives me time to show you just a great little bit of freestyle stitching here. So let me grab a needle off of my pin cushion. Again, this is a number 7 needle. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to tell you is if you have trouble with the small eye of a needle, just get a bigger needle. It's fine. It's not going to be worth the stress of you having issues threading your needle. They also make really great needle threaders out there. So I'm going to show you how I thread a needle, because I don't actually thread a needle. Are you ready for it? I needle my thread. I needle my thread. Okay. So I'm going to take this thread. Do you see how it's just one strand? It's kind of right here on my finger. I'm going to get it to where I can just barely see the tip of it between my fingers. Sorry, y'all. Let's let the camera focus in. And I'm going to take this needle now and take it right to that. So I needle my thread. It's that easy for me. And I stitch with a double thread. So what that means is I only thread the needle once, but I pull it to the middle of my thread. Okay, so like these are my tails. And I'm going to show you how I knot it. So can you see that? I have my needle in the middle. Okay. So much easier to needle your thread, or at least it is for me. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the ends of my thread. So do you see the two ends here? They're not exactly equal, but that's okay. So I have my two ends here. I'm going to show you how I tie off my knot. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to hold the ends over it. Okay, kind of holding it. I'm going to wrap 1, 2, 3 times, and then I'm going to point my needle straight up to the ceiling. Okay, I'm going to grab it, what I wrapped, with these 2 fingers, right? I'm going to grab it and let go, and then I'm going to push the needle up through and just don't let go until it pulls all the way through. And look, you get a nice little knot. Super fun, super easy. Yeah, I'll show it again here in just a minute. Let's go ahead and stitch a little bit on a leaf. So I'm just going to come up here in the middle and I'm just going to throw in a few stitches. We call this a back stitch, or I call it an outlining stitch sometimes. I'm going to go, I put in a stitch. I'm going to go in ahead of the stitch and I'm going to go back to meet the stitch. My hands are shaky today. I'm going to go ahead of the stitch. Do I care if it's a straight line? Nope. I don't. I'm going to go ahead of the stitch, come back to meet the stitch. I think even veins and leaves look good when they're a little crooked. So let's make this one maybe not so straight up here at the end. Let's have it go a little curvy. Okay. Right? So it's just that easy. We're just going to stitch that little bit to knot it off. I just bring my needle on the back and I bring it underneath the stitch. And you see how it kind of makes this little loop right here, little loop. Then I'm just going to take my needle back through that loop. Whoops, try not to crap. There we go. And just grab it. It makes a little knot and just trim it. Okay. I always tell people I will never ever judge you by the back side of your project. I'll never judge you anyway. But look how cute that is. Isn't that cute? That's going to be so cute over here with our little leaves. Did y'all hear the doorbell? That's the front door. That means the postal lady's here. All right, let's thread the needle again. One more time. And I'll show you. You always want to make sure that you cut your thread on the end to make sure it's nice and sharp. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to take this thread and I'm going to bring it down to where it's just right. I barely can see. Do y'all see it? Barely see it right there, right? Just that little bitty tiny end. I'll open up my fingers again a little bit. And I'm going to take my needle, the eye of my needle, to my thread. And boom. That's how I thread a needle. So try that. If you're having trouble threading it your way, try it my way. And if that doesn't work either, then just invest in a little needle threader. So now I'm going to tie off the knot in the end. I have my two tails right here. All right, I'm going to hold them over my needle. I'm going to wrap 1, 2, 3 times, point to the ceiling, take these two fingers and pinch over everything that I just wrapped. And just keep your fingers together, just push the needle up through it. And boom, you get a nice little knot. Isn't that cute? You just get a nice little knot. All right, let's do another leaf. I'm not sure that I really need 3 leaves. I may just wind up using 2. So I'm going to put a stitch in, and then I'm going to go ahead of the stitch and back to meet the stitch. Is it the end of the world if I don't meet the stitch when I go back? No. No, this freestyle stitching is a very whimsical form of stitching. We are just not going to stress. And we're going to have fun and just relax while we stitch. So you see what I mean? Like this vein of this leaf doesn't have to be super straight. It can be wiggly like that. I think that's actually kind of cute. Wiggly. I'm going to go to the back now and just go underneath a stitch. I'm going to wind up getting this little loop. Take my needle through the loop. Almost got it too short, didn't I? And pull it, and that just makes a little knot. Okay, so cute, right? Yeah, I may just do 2 leaves. What do y'all think? I think I just need 2. I think 2 is going to be plenty. Renee, can I bother you again? Yes. On my studio desk there in that rope basket, there's some black and white twine. Okay. Did you bring me that? All right. So when I'm done with my thread, this is what I do, y'all. I'm going to go take the end of the thread and I'm going to wrap it right here and then pop that shut. And then that way my threads don't get in a big old gnarly mess. Perfect. Okay, so let's finish off our adorable little framed pin cushion that would be great for any crafter, okay? It'd be great for any crafter. My hands shake sometimes. Yeah, I think I don't know, as I get older, they seem like they shake every now and again. Um, Maybe I've had a little too much caffeine this morning. I don't know. But it doesn't keep me from doing what I want to do. Okay, so I thought it would be fun to maybe take in a little bit of baker's twine here and actually create a little bow to go in here too. Remember, I want this to look really cute. It's going to be my new pin cushion for my studio room that I'm still working on. Hopefully, I'm going to get it finished soon. I'm going to make this kind of a big loop. In fact, I'm going to make it a little more, I want it to have bigger loops. So I'm going to do it about like that. I can always make them shorter, but I'm going to have these be kind of bigger loops. Okay, a little bit bigger loops. And let's just leave that there for a second. Okay. So this is the part I think I'm going to put on first, actually. I'm going to just put a little drop of hot glue right there. Stick that bow down. And then I'm going to start with my largest flower first. Okay, I'm going to start with my largest flower first. I'm just going to put a nice little blob of hot glue. If you don't want to use hot glue, you could use like a fast grab tacky glue. And I'm going to squeeze it kind of in that corner. Okay, let's do this one next. I'm going to do the leaves last. A little bit of glue on the bottom. And I like it when the flowers are kind of snuggled together. I'm going to kind of snuggle them together here, which means they're not all glued down flat. They're kind of, sometimes they'll be kind of on an edge, like watch. Hopefully y'all can see this okay. So I'm going to take my finger and pull this flower back a little bit and then kind of push this one in. Do you see how they're all kind of meeting each other? Does that make sense? So cute. All right. And then over here, I'm going to put just a little bit of glue only on the back of the stitching, just the back of the stitching, because I'm going to kind of give this a little bit of, I'm going to kind of squish it up a little bit. I want the leaf to still look like it kind of has some life in it. Put that down and then just kind of push it with your fingers just a little bit here and there. Oops, I stuck to it. I've got glue on my fingernail. Let me put a little bit more in here. There. I just want the leaves to look like they have a little bit of life. To pick that little piece of glue back off. Okay, do you think I need the third leaf? I really don't think that I do. I think I'm just going to leave it. And then we're going to have glue hairs everywhere, okay? Glue hairs, they just happen sometimes with when you use a glue gun, but if you'll use your heat gun, it will just evaporate those glue hairs. They just evaporate. So now I'm just going to take my little twine here and tie off a little knot and another little knot. You know, I'm having this panicked feeling, like hoping that when I put this in, that I put it in the right way. Make sure and check your easel back. We're going to find out in just a second. So I like to put in a little knot and then just kind of unravel the ends so it looks kind of like a little tassel. Isn't that just the cutest? Oh my gosh. I think that is just so cute. You can kind of play around with the loops for the bow if you want them to hang down more or, you know, however you want them to be. Isn't that cute? Okay, I did do it right. Look, I did it right. So let's back up. So now you can see my finished, adorable little framed pincushion. Isn't that cute? So again, I can stand it up because it's got the frame easel on here, but I can also just lay it down if I'm stitching in a chair or on a couch or wherever. Yes, it's just so darling, isn't it? Isn't that fun? So you can have some fun with these. You can add a little bit of ribbon on these if you want to. And again, I think every crafter needs a pincushion because sometimes, even if you don't do fabric or you don't stitch, I need pins all the time for, it might be for unclogging my glue bottle or my Stickles bottle, or maybe I need help separating a napkin. But it's just perfect for just putting my needles or pins in. And I think it's just super, super cute. You can have them kind of go in like this if you want. I've got plenty of batting here that can kind of, I don't know, you just stick them in however you want them to be in. Isn't that cute? I think it's adorable. I think it's so adorable. And then you can kind of play with uh, your your flower edges a little bit, but actually this looks pretty good. If you'll kind of cluster them, that's how I think they look best, kind of clustered. And again, if you want to put a little bead, a little pearl, a little rhinestone, little gem or something in the middle, that's a really cute thing to do too. Okay? Yes, it's cute and functional. It's cute and functional. And I think that that's just something that's very important. It's okay. Our useful things can be cute, right? Like they can be so cute. Let me just move that over there. So now you can kind of see this. Actually, let me take this off the screen so I can show this to you. Isn't that just adorable? I think it's so cute. And again, I've got the easel if I decide to stand it up. Okay. So that was our craft, right? Super cute. These would make such cute gifts for anybody in your life that's a crafter, a stitcher, a quilter, a sewer, you know, anything like that. And you can use any fabrics that you want. Very inexpensive type craft because you can get your frames at the dollar store or repurpose frames that you already have. So let's look at the ones that I've already got here as well. These are just some others I just wanted to show you, right? It can have a big, bold fabric in it like this one. Something small like this in any shape or type of frame will work, even a little one like this, right? So cute.